This episode of The Big Picture is presented by Starbucks. We are big Starbucks Frappuccino fans over here, so when we heard about the new Strato Frappuccino blended beverage, we had to try it. It's a crave-worthy iced blended beverage topped with cold foam, making for delicious layers of flavor.
I love how Starbucks leans into the seasons, especially summer. From vibrant refreshers to cold blended beverages, there's always something exciting to sip on.
Available now for a limited time only, your Strato Frappuccino blended beverage is ready at Starbucks. I'm Sean Fennessy.
I'm Amanda Dobbins.
And this is The Big Picture, a conversation show about demon hunters and teens in peril. Today on the show, we break down two new releases, the Netflix animated sensation and one of the year's big surprises, K-Pop Demon Hunters, with our pal Andy Greenwald from The Watch. That'll be fun. And then we'll dig into I Know What You Did Last Summer, the same named sequel to the 1997 horror hit. After that, I'll present to you my 90s horror movie canon.
I have some notes.
You have some? Okay.
I can participate at least halfway. I was there in the 90s.
I look forward to that.
Yeah.
10 films I'll choose from an entire decade, a very strange decade in horror. Let's start this conversation with some quick catch up on the Fantastic Four and its box office performance. We didn't like the movie very much. We talked about it last week. Listeners completely agreed. They said another great episode.
You know what?
Put it in the books.
I heard from a friend and an Academy member who agreed.
Wow.
So there we go.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Pedro Pascal called you.
Yes, he did.
Unbelievable how connected you are. The movie did pretty good at the box office. It's more or less the same report that we had with Superman. This movie made $118 million on 4,125 screens here in North America. It made $100 million internationally, roughly the same as Superman after the opening weekend. Superman dipped, I guess, about 54% in its second weekend. We'll see what Fantastic Four's hold is. We've been talking about the life cycle of superhero movies a lot in the last couple of years on the show. It seems like things are kind of settling, where this is still a big, important part of the business.
Right, but it's
not the most important part of the business.
Yeah.
And this movie is probably going to end up in that between $600 and $700 million range, just like Superman. I mentioned after Superman, we don't get $880 million superhero movies, let alone billion-dollar superhero movies. One of the reasons for that, China could care less about superhero movies now. They just don't go. Europe is increasingly less interested. The MCU's been flagging. The DCU is starting something new. So I am curious, aside from your Lilo and Stitches, kind of what moves into the position of these kinds of movies?
I mean, I think if we've learned that there are more smaller, and not small, but the literal wealth just gets sprinkled out a little bit more, not in any real Marxist way, but at least amongst the corporations.
Yeah.
And, we're not going to get another Avengers Endgame. That any business school case study could have told you that, but they're trying anyway. And what's amusing now is that we have them trying to reheat Avengers Endgame on the calendar for the end of next year. And it just ain't going to happen in the same way.
No, it'll make a lot of money. It'll make a lot of money.
It's not going to, that was a magical once in a lifetime thing that they did. Congratulations to them. Congratulations to everyone who was a part of it. You can't reheat a souffle. So
it's interesting for this show too, because aside from Supergirl, which is a big movie, but more smaller stakes than these last two that we talked about, and Clayface.
Why is that?
Well, clearly because she's a woman.
Yeah,
we live
exactly.
in the patriarchy. No, I think it's not Superman. It's not a character as well known as Superman, and I think it's going to be an ostensible sort of semi-related sequel. But that movie and Clayface, which I anticipate, but I think is also a more modest movie. Aside from those two movies, no superhero movies for a year.
Okay.
Which
great
is kind of cool.
I guess so.
Not bad. I mean, I'd love for these movies to be a little bit better than they have been, but
instead we're just going to have Demon Hunter TV shows.
Well, we'll get to that very shortly. I don't really have any other takeaways on the box office here. It does seem like everything is kind of settled. The event movies get to 700. Everything else gets to 400 to 500.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's bring in Andy Greenwald. Andy Greenwald is here. When's the last time you were on the show? Miyazaki?
I only come on to talk about kids' cartoons, Sean.
That's true.
That's the level of respect you have for my film
But that's
opinions.
only because your podcast partner will not allow you to speak of these things on your show.
It's true. And I feel very CR coded right now because I just came off of 90 minutes of The Watch, at which point I usually then go home to a nice lunch. And Chris comes and does like an hour or two of drafting with you guys.
And here you are.
So here I am in the middle seat.
And now we're going to litigate your opinions of Porco Rosso.
I'm going to litigate your opinions on Fantastic Four, which were obscene, frankly.
Wow.
But
So
we
we've
don't need
heard.
to-
So we've heard.
Shocking.
You disagree.
I loved it.
Okay.
I completely
well,
loved it.
I'm happy for you.
The woke
snarl in
Marvel
your
virus
voices.
has made its way into this podcast somehow.
No, I'll let it be. I'll let it be. 'Cause
okay.
I do feel
You
one of
had
the-
a rejoinder on your podcast.
I did. I had a strong rejoinder, I think.
Okay.
I do often feel like our podcasts are in dialogue with
They
one
are.
another.
Yes, even though we rarely see each other anymore.
Rarely see each
We
other.
see each other literally passing in the hallways.
Also, there is an incredible alpha energy from your podcast. First of all, because just the way you have me sitting, where I cannot get comfortable and I feel the glare of both of you.
That's part of the
Yeah.
strategy. Yeah.
It works. The other reason being, last week, I believe I reached out to both of you to appear on The Watch because I love you both and love your opinions.
Right.
It didn't work out. And somehow the result of this humble request is that I'm here on your podcast.
That is
So-
true. And
That's
is extremely random because it's not often that you're
It's
on
impressive.
this show.
No.
And 99 out of 100 times,
Mhm.
I would be happy to appear on The Watch.
Yeah.
But that was a day that was just not going to work. You
Well,
know
you've-
why? We
you've-
had to go see the Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
Well, you were lucky then.
And
got
then
to
you
do something better.
volunteered because you really
I did.
wanted to talk about
I
it.
was
It was kind of like,
worried.
no, really, guys, do you want to talk about it? And then we said yes.
Yes. And I was so eager to have you on the podcast, Amanda. We just reran an episode
And
of
that
Stick
was
the
very
Landing.
nice. I know, but it was fun.
Just because we wanted you.
Lena's back, you know?
Lena's back.
So you did ask, and I was planning to do this, and I don't
Mhm.
even know if I had made you aware of the fact that I was planning to do this on the show regardless, but I'm so glad that you raised your hand on it because this movie,
Mhm.
I think you could make the case, K-Pop Demon Hunters,
Mhm.
is one of the biggest movies of the summer. It's probably
Without
been
question.
seen by more people than any of the summer blockbusters that we've covered on the show.
Yes.
Just given Netflix's audience,
This,
right?
this, the viewership data and stuff is famously opaque, but the stat that was getting thrown around last week was that this was the first ever Netflix movie to week over week grow, so that the fifth week viewing minutes was exponentially larger than the fourth, third, second, and first.
So
And only 10% of that was coming from my house, I believe.
yeah, well, I'm wondering how much of it is going to be coming from mine now that I've seen it with a 4-year-old girl.
Yes.
So K-Pop Demon Hunters is directed by Maggie Kang and Chris Applehans. It's written by Dana Jimenez, Hannah McMenon, Maggie Kang, and Chris Applehans. This is a movie about
It's right there in the
K-pop
title,
girl
Sean.
Yeah,
group who
sure.
are demon hunters.
Yeah.
First of all, I don't want to tell you guys how to do your jobs or filmmakers, but like Eddington, what's that about? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Angry woke sheriff would be a better name for that movie, I assume.
It's a very good
Yeah.
point.
Put what the movie is in the title.
But
Yeah.
this is what I think made me a little bit nervous about this
Sure.
movie, is that this is real AI generated slop idea.
Yes.
Of just like, please say all adjectives and nouns that are correlated to subject matter as
Yeah.
opposed to something with the spirit of creativity. And yet,
Mm,
I found this movie to be very enjoyable.
it's very enjoyable.
So I know that you're going to love it. This is a complicated one for
Sure.
you. There are demons and there are hunters
Yeah.
and it's animated.
So it was a rocky first 4 minutes. I will say.
Do you want to recite the
because-
text message you
have
sent
a
me?
stopwatch?
Well, I received a note very early on
So
in
here's
in
what
Amanda's
happened: is
viewing.
that my husband
paint the picture for
okay,
Friday.
I would love to. So it was Friday night, the night before Sean's birthday.
Happy
Children,
birthday, by the way.
yeah, happy birthday to Sean.
You sent me a note. That was very kind. Thank
Yeah.
you.
I'm
Our
always
children
thinking
are
of you.
asleep, and my husband took Sean out for a birthday drink, which is a lovely thing to
Very
do.
nice.
So, mom, home alone, Friday night,
Crack a wine cooler.
hit the K-pop Demon
Mhm.
Hunters.
Mhm.
And the first 4 minutes are of just a frantic origin story
It's fast.
about all
Mm.
of like the demon history
Mhm.
of the world.
And the pop history.
Sure, but it's way more demon
It's more
coded in the
It's a lot
first
of
4
Han
minutes.
Moon.
Yeah,
a lot of
and-
magical force field.
And
Yeah.
I would say of all of the things in the title that are bringing this to this movie being K-pop demons and hunters,
Mm.
my ranking would be 1 K-pop, 2 hunters, 3 demons. So I sent you a text that said, I'm 4 minutes into K-pop Demon Hunters, what the fuck is this? But then I kept watching.
Good for you. Yeah, good.
I watched the whole film, and I was quite charmed by it. There were things that I really liked, some things that were just clearly not meant for me, like a 40-year-old mom at home on a Friday night with her wine cooler and her load of laundry, which I did fold. I am the hero of the family. I folded all the laundry. But I get it a little. I get it, and it is charming.
So you have young girls in the house.
Yes.
And I think this movie is very clearly pitched directly at them.
Yes.
So did you watch it with them first?
No. So one of the things that, my kids are a little older than your kids, but one of the things that does come into play later in parenting is the opportunity of hey, here you go. And you roll it across the room and you buy yourself some time. And I saw this, I was just referencing this on the Watch podcast, but my children changed the avatar names on my Netflix account. So I get emails that say, Daddy, we just added a movie you might like, which is
so alluring.
Really perverse.
Really, yes, sure.
But I was aware of this movie from the title, and I was like, tick, 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 all the boxes, like, you guys should watch this. They loved it. Then I tried that trick again. We were at a 4th of July party that they did not want to attend.
Sure.
And they threw it on there with the other kids that were there. They loved it. And I was like, this is an incredible magic trick that will never run out of juice. The downside of my plan was they liked it so much, they wanted to share it with me. And they wanted to listen to the songs, and they were getting really into it. And I was being super supportive of that, always, as I am.
Right.
And then my older daughter went to sleepaway camp. My younger daughter was like, please watch this with me. And I was like, yes.
Aw, that's nice.
I know, it's very sweet. I need to appreciate these moments. I did not think that this would be one of the children's entertainments that I really, really legitimately liked. So much so that when the movie ended, I did ask her, can you tell when I really like something? And she said, yes.
What does that mean? Like, what are you indicating to her when you are connecting with something with her?
Well, I think I am actually present.
Phone doesn't come out.
No phone. No thinking about all the things I could have done with my evening or my life.
Right.
Yeah.
We can call that the Elio experience.
Yeah.
This was not
tough.
This was not
Took
that.
a quick nap during that one.
Ooh, and that can be a relief in the theater. It's air conditioning. But I am so K-pop Demon Hunters turned out. Now, like, I have now added Golden to my best songs of the year ongoing playlist. Like, I am super locked in. I thought that this movie was so much lighter, brighter, more charming than it needed to be. I thought it was serving a type of entertainment that really resonated with my daughters, but also just resonated with itself. It had a point of view. It had a cultural point of view. It had a musical point of view. They did the songs as they should have been done. You guys know that in any fictional music story, making the songs legitimately sound like that they could be number ones is almost impossible. They did it.
Not once or twice, but like five times. I mean, there are 5 legitimate K-pop sounding mega hits on this soundtrack,
which are now dominating
staggering.
Spotify's playlists. And like, when you have a song like Soda Pop in it, the premise is written, maybe yada yada in the script is demons must come up with a song so diabolically catchy that people willingly give up their eternal souls. And someone met the moment. Yeah. And came up with that song.
It's a banger.
It felt, and I want to hear what you guys think about this very much. Like, there's a lot of Drek and there's a lot of okay. And it's been depressing that, like, former reliable sources of more than okay, like Pixar, have now just sort of devolved into this samey okayness. So to have something that just literally popped.
The Fantastic Four you liked, you said.
Loved it.
Okay.
Joy.
I think
the same daughter that liked this didn't like it as much as I did, but
interesting.
Yeah.
I think that this is a much better movie than what I'm going to cite, but it feels very in concert with the Minecraft movie, which is a kind of collision of tones and styles and reference points, all in a stew with an energy that young kids are relating to because they have experienced culture in a slightly different way than we did. It is faster. It is less homogenized. It is more international. It is more antic, and I think they're more open-minded about the weirdness. It does remind me a little bit of like Jim Henson taking hard left turns in the 80s and 90s.
Like
where
Dark
he'd be
Crystal?
like, how far can I take my interest in puppetry and how far will kids come with me?
Did you relate to that?
But this movie is that going 100 miles an hour. It also has like a very interesting metatextual, almost like mockumentary style where there's like a lot of characters who are going into camera and they're explaining the lore via social media or normal media. And there's just a lot of information coming at you in a very rapid fire way that is happening alongside of classic things like girl falls in love with demon. And what will that mean for her eternal soul, you know?
I think that you're very right to point out that there is a cultural fluency among younger people of like manga, for example. And so this movie, the characters, the style is like, it's called chibi, right? When the faces become little baby faces and tears or popcorn and it's highly stylized. My kids read manga comics and watch anime. Like they get that.
Yeah.
That is not a bridge that's too difficult to cross for entry in it. I think the Minecraft thing is interesting because I agree with you that it has the kind of like the manic energy of the games that my kids now also play. Minecraft movie, thanks for having me on to talk about it. I was dreading the real world parts of it. I thought were inspired, and I loved. Like I was laughing more than anyone in the theater in the early parts.
It gets away with a lot because of its cast.
But then once they went into the world, then it becomes like all entertainments of like we have to save the thing and do the thing, and we survived this somehow, and then we move on. I thought this movie stayed a little bit more. I mean, it's a lighter subject matter, but it stayed more true to its particular rhythm.
I had an interesting experience watching it with my 4-year-old.
Yeah.
So the previous day when we watched this, which was my birthday, the thing that we did in the morning was she and I went to the Egyptian Theater to go to a free screening sponsored by Mattel.
Of Barry Lyndon?
No, they did not sponsor Barry Lyndon. We went to go see 2 1983 episodes of He-Man and 2 1983 episodes of She-Ra.
Whoa.
And the reason for that is because She-Ra is her favorite thing in the world right now. There is a Netflix series
My kids
right now,
love it.
which is excellent. She-Ra, the Princess of Power.
Did she wear her dress?
She didn't, but she brought her action figure.
Okay.
Nice.
And her 2 favorite things are princesses and warriors. And if you put these 2 things together, this is an incredibly powerful stew. And this is like an elevation of that. This is pop stars who are warriors.
Can I ask you, did she like the cartoon? Because I tried to show, my kids loved the She-Ra Netflix show. And I was like, you know what this was when I was a kid? And they were like,
I think she was...
They were dying with laughter how weird and
so
dumb it was.
The origin of her liking She-Ra, I think I told you this once on the show before, but we were in Videotech in Highland Park, and she's just looking at the kids section and just pulling stuff off the shelves and looking at it. And she just pulled off the 80s She-Ra. And she was just like, what is this? Who is this person? Who is my icon? And we watched that. So she had already seen the 80s version. She was comfortable with it.
Okay.
But there's just like a certain kind of story. You know, a strong woman with a blade is of interest to her right now. And that's interesting. Wait till she gets the Basic Instinct. And so this was right up her alley. And plus the music, I don't think that we have necessarily grounded her in pop music. A lot of the music that we play is either you're in ballet class or musicals, like Disney musicals, or maybe like the Beatles or like 60s pop music.
Amanda's kid's listening to Bjork. I saw that over the weekend.
He's listening to Bjork. He's listening to a lot of ABBA. I didn't play him this music. He's just a little bit younger than Alice, and also the boys don't mature quite as quickly emotionally.
You could tell right now on this podcast.
So I did think that he would be a little freaked out by this. And he was also asleep. But I think he might like the music. Like, sometimes it gets too poppy. Like Beyonce, Cowboy Carter is a yes.
Okay.
Rihanna, SOS was a recent heartbreaking no. So
interesting. Well, because Cowboy Carter is rooted in Americana, right?
Sure.
In our spirit of country and Western film.
And as a terrible mother, I've tried to play him Brat many times, and he literally, like, he recognizes the songs and knows to say no Brat. So I don't know whether this would be a little too. This is another thing. It is really fast paced, and so he is smaller. So I was wondering whether it might overwhelm him.
Yeah.
I think there's kind of like a magic age that he hasn't quite reached.
My kids are the magic age because it's like they love the music, they love the humor, they love the premise, but there's also a little bit like, Genu is beautiful. Like he's
Sure.
a beautiful boy, maybe worth losing your immortal soul for.
Yes.
But then also the core friend. I mean, we haven't gotten specifically into it, but like the core group of Huntrix,
Right.
which is why don't you say it with me, Amanda, because we know their names so well. There's Rumi,
Mm-hmm.
there's Mira, and there's of course hailing from
Zoe.
Burbank, Zoe.
I'm more of a Mira, I think.
100%. I'm
Yeah.
more of the Zoe and
Rumi, obviously.
Yeah,
Come on,
yeah, yeah.
guys. We didn't even need to say Hank.
self-identify. We get it. I'm the kind of funny rapid one. That core group, like they just light up in the scenes in the movie that are very intentional and thoughtful. Of can we have a break from touring? We'll put on our
couch.
Yes.
Very funny stuff.
and like let's relax, let's rest, let's be friends. Because the other thing that I think is essential to their fandom and maybe the fandom of all young people or maybe specifically young girls is it's not just I love the music. It's not just I love the imagery or the concerts. I believe deeply in a before you learn the word parasocial way
Right.
that these are good people,
Yes.
Yeah.
who are actually friends. Like my older daughter believes Taylor Swift to be one of the greatest humans who's ever lived due to her generosity and her benevolence. I know.
No.
And that she's legitimately friends with Sabrina Carter.
I need
that
to-
they're kind to each other.
Yeah.
I need to explore that with you.
Yeah.
This is giving away what we will soon talk about, and I know what you did last summer. But that to me is one of the key flaws of that movie.
Which movie? K-pop?
I know what you did last summer, which is that it wants us to be really rooting for the characters and love them and believe in their friendship. And it's a slasher movie. And I'm wondering if there's just something slightly generational that has transpired where like we need a kind of unity amongst our protagonists to get interested in their stories if we're a little younger. Whereas
This
I'm
is
like,
smart. Like,
the
where's
American
the-
Man
where's-
in 1952. It's just fucking Shane. It's
Or
Shane.
where's
He's
the
all
Mira-
on his own.
Or where's the Mira solo album?
Right. Yeah.
Which one is going to actually pop off? Because frankly, the other Saja boys don't have it.
It's
You know what I mean?
it's an
Well,
interesting
they do.
question.
They're
We can
funny, and
explore it.
Can I ask like an extension of that, which is in addition to the movie has the concept of the fan, and we have to do this for the fans, and this is something that they keep repeating, which I thought was notable
Smart.
and really like. Did your daughters get that? Did that make sense to them?
Yes, I think that the movie ends with them stepping down from the golden dais of celebrity to interact and be kind to people. And I think that perpetuates one of the deepest planks of the illusion of modern fandom, which is that we would be friends, or they would choose to be my friend, or they know me, they see me, they're doing it for me.
But the movie is really, really pushing that as well as part of the character
This
development
is
of
so
these
profoundly
people.
different, though, than the way that we experience
Yeah,
popular
totally.
culture.
Oh, yeah.
It's crazy. Whether we were deifying or the sense that no one cares about me, but they're like no one cares about me that the artist experiences is also how I feel. And so we can relate to their alienation. That's not in the sauce at all. In pop music right now, in art, in TV.
But the Rumi arc. So the character, right, is the greatest pop singer of her era, and she's about to not only top the charts for the unprecedented whateverth year, but she's also going to seal the, what's the word again in Korean?
The Hanmun.
Thank you. To seal Demons Out forever, but twist, she's half demon. And I do wish the movie had delved a little bit more into the union that produced her. Maybe there's a prequel of some sort. I don't know how that works.
When we were watching it, I watched it with Eileen as well, and she was like, so what's going on here with this? And I was like, I assume a woman fucked a demon. You know?
For a
you
while,
you gotta assume, right?
Well, so for a while I thought it was going to be Celine. And then Celine, so the Celine character was underdeveloped, I felt. That would be a note that I have.
I agree with that. Celine is her aunt or like her foster demon hunter mom?
Right, exactly.
Yes,
but then turns on her because she's like, she doesn't actually believe in her the way that her friends do or something. I don't know.
And maybe demons aren't so bad.
Yeah.
But then actually they are. Right. So she is half demon, so she is the problem, and she's hiding this from everyone. But the narrative of the songs is also deeply character-based, right? And is this sign of like contemporary pop triumphalism that like everybody doubted me, but I'm going to be golden. I'm going to show my haters I'm not actually a demon. I'm the greatest.
Right.
But it is translated through this Korean lens, right? That I think I'm not a K-pop expert and don't even want to pretend to be, but like the release schedule and the performative politics and almost athletics of being a pop star felt accurate from my just sort of
Yeah.
adjacent awareness of it. And that felt accurate, right? I mean,
I think as close as you can get in a kind of genre blend up of
Right.
that features a very clear real world artistic stakes, and then everything else in the story is fantastical.
Yes.
So like making all that seem legible to audiences, I think is a good thing. I think it's one of the reasons why the songs are hitting, is because there is just a big audience out in the world for these songs. It's a really unusual thing though, because one, original animated features.
Yeah, let's just
super hard to pull off right now.
Yeah, both not just in terms of story, but like you've chosen an aesthetic for the movie, and that was partly my barrier for entry. When I heard the girls talk about it, my first thought was, this is Netflix slop. This is just filling the algorithm.
Same here.
My second thought was that, and I don't know why this is, I just focused more on like the Demon Hunters thing. So I was like, it's probably a little bit just like over the top emo, whatever. And the fact that it was charming, the fact that it was funny, that's what kind of caught me off guard and drew me in.
Yes. For me, like the K-pop aspects of it are what drew it in. As much as like and explain it, like K-pop, I'm not an expert either. It's something that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
I'm just too old. So I did feel like this was kind of explaining, welcoming me into the culture a little bit.
Yeah.
And it does a good job, I think, of both feeling very specific to that world while also throwing those of us who don't know anything a bone here and there.
And I think the animation style is not a totalizing, alienating anime approach that some people might have a hard time watching, Akira. Like there is still something like very, very pop about this. It's like very lithe, thin lines, very candy colored,
and,
like very approachable for any kid.
Lovely choreography that like it's But so here's maybe a broader question for you guys also, not just as parents, but as film commentators at the forefront of this stuff. This really did, I think your Minecraft point is very smart and well taken, because I think that what we've been experiencing a lot of is this top-down hierarchy of kids' movies disappearing up adults' asses. So like the fact that Pixar has become a factory of let's explore abstract concepts and emotions through, like, as if they're trying to solve for cold fusion as opposed to entertain families, is so bizarre. And so wildly divorced from kids like playing video games on the iPad and they like listening to K-pop. So let's meet the kids where they are.
Right.
It's really striking.
It's also something that I've been pointing out over the last couple of years, which is just like, this is the same story of success, new but familiar. This is like, these are things that you know about, but you've never seen them quite like this before. You've played Minecraft, but have you seen it in a movie? You know about Barbie. Have you ever seen her story told this way? Like the things that kind of pop in the culture now that go bigger than the just like, the balance sheets have cleared for Superman. Stuff that kind of elevates a little bit beyond that tends to have, it's not creatively revolutionary, but it just feels a little bit different than what the last 10 or 15 years have felt like. This is a very strange thing though, because one, it's on Netflix. And so obviously their native audience is massive, but it's hard for things to become phenomenons as movies on
made
Netflix.
by Sony though, right?
But it's made by Sony. This is the fourth Sony film that, this one I'm not quite sure. So the Mitchells versus the Machines 4 years ago.
That was COVID, right?
They like picked that movie up during COVID. That's a really good animated film. And
gets a lot of burn in my house still.
I really liked it. I had the filmmaker on when it came out. I didn't realize that both Wish Dragon and Vivo were also Sony Pictures animation movies, and those are seen as Netflix movies. Vivo had a Lin-Manuel Miranda soundtrack on it.
Those movies have been seen quite a bit in my house.
So now there's this movie. This is the fourth one. And then a fifth one, Fixed, the Genndy Tartakovsky movie, which is like kind of a Ren and Stimpy-esque, like PG-13 raunchy dog comedy, is also coming out in August. My question is, why is Sony selling animated movies that people want to see to Netflix?
This one is, so when you, I mean, I don't know if it's hindsight, because you see the kind of response this is having, and you're like, why did they just give up hundreds of millions of dollars?
There's no way they would have reached as many people in theaters.
I mean, it is a little bit, though, that it's finding the distribution to get to and the fact that, I mean, do you know how many times your daughters have watched it at this point?
Well, one is safely at camp without Wi-Fi, but otherwise, and by the way, in terms of communication from camp, the only thing that has gotten an exclamation point to me is the fact that I watched and liked this movie.
Okay.
That has saved my summer as far as I'm concerned. But no, I think we're at 3 or 4, and then when she gets back, we're gonna get into 5 and 6.
So, and that's it's hard to repeat in the same way. Like, does it become the same level of phenomenon in theaters?
Maybe not, but
But
Sony movies are already in the SVOD window. So this movie was going to Netflix no matter what. So it's unusual now. This is 4 movies in a row that I think could have at least made some money theatrically.
But can you guys, as in your role as, watchers on the wall of this stuff, like, is there a connective tissue here or a discussion point in relation to, the one thing that the COVID windows taught us, right, about like, if you put Pixar movies on TV, then families and kids are like, why are we going to the theater for it? We get it at home. Like, this is
an inversion of that.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
so like, is there some...
I think previously Pixar was
there
theatrical. And these movies don't have any kind of native setup. They're just new movies that are on Netflix.
Right.
So I don't know if there's a lot you can glean from it other than I'm sure Sony is getting paid a premium to put these movies on the platform first. And that's a financial decision that they've made. But in doing so, they are doing the same thing that Disney and Pixar accidentally did, which is that they harmed their theatrical power by not making these a primary part of their strategy in terms of putting movies out. And Sony, it's like they're not having the greatest year in the world. I just watched another Sony movie called Until Dawn, which is a video game adaptation horror movie that they put out earlier this year in theaters that kind of bombed. And I think people are watching on Netflix now, but isn't very good. So I don't have the balance sheet answer for this, but this was clearly going to be a movie that was going to connect with people just on the strength of the pop songs. The fact that 5 of the top 7 songs on Spotify are from this movie is remarkable.
The other 2 are episodes of The Big Picture, I believe.
Can neither confirm nor deny.
Sure.
Probably not the Fantastic Four episode.
Okay. No, I turned that off in disgust. I don't know what got into you guys that day.
So your kids have seen Elio?
Yeah.
Dogman?
My younger daughter saw it without me. She went with a friend and a parent. They are not.
Sure. Yeah.
Nija 2?
Don't know what that is.
It's the highest grossing film worldwide this year.
That's right. I was just testing you.
Chinese movie.
You passed.
Thank you. Smurfs?
No, even there. Like, come on.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody knows.
Will they see Bad Guys too?
Very excited for Bad Guys.
Okay.
Too. Big Bad Guys fans.
Okay. SpongeBob movie Search for SquarePants.
Can't imagine it because culturally that has no relevance to them. They're
too young.
They were too young, and I'm too old. I don't know any of those things were, so I don't get that one.
Zootopia 2.
Okay, great question. Super pumped. Also, may I say, before my screening of Fantastic Four: First Steps, truly a great film that I saw this weekend, there was the Zootopia 2 trailer.
Yeah.
And my daughter and I were so thrilled. She was thrilled because there's a Zootopia 2. This trailer doesn't have any scenes from the movie.
It's just that they're dancing.
Yes,
right?
it is.
It's a TikTok video.
Yeah.
Let's do more of this. There is a trailer that communicates the 2 most important things. One, this exists.
Yeah.
And then for everyone else, they're like, this has style. This has personality.
It's good
fun.
for a sequel. I think it would be a hard sell if it was an original.
Oh, sure. But I'm saying we don't need the whole...
I don't disagree.
Now, that said, because of our recent summer movie viewing, my 8-year-old has now seen the action trailer for One Battle After Another twice.
Oh, yeah.
And
come with us opening night.
Does not think this is going to be a good film.
Okay. She's out.
Really, really, really negative on this.
All right.
And then got more negative when I said, see that guy? That's Jack from Titanic.
Oh.
No, it's not.
That's really funny.
No, it's not. That is the hard
You guys have watched
year.
Titanic already.
Well, again, when you have the 2 kids, my older daughter is obsessed with it.
Well, yeah, of course.
And then
Titanic is going to go so hard in my house.
The younger one is around.
I mean, I'll come over for that one.
That's going to go
be
crazy.
Incredible stuff.
By the way, sidebar, I feel like all of us, or at least 2 of us, wandered into the filming of Cliff Booth this weekend on Figueroa.
Yes,
I did as well.
We went to go see it because I read that it was happening, and now my son is just like absolutely obsessed with crane shots and was like also like mansplaining them by the end. He was like, so the cameras, they go up there, they're sleeping right now. So this is a serious request. I already asked Sean this. If anyone listening has any recommendation of behind the scenes or like making of footages of big crane shots, because we obviously went on YouTube and it's just like dudes with their like, little 12-foot rigs.
As someone who has made a TV show, this tracks with all male directors, like of any age.
I said he's born to be a cinematographer.
This is 100%.
Let us know, because like I showed him like famous shots and he was like, but where's the crane? So that's what he wants to see.
I recommended some of the Indiana Jones behind the scenes stuff. I feel like there could be some good.
My kids hate the Indiana Jones movies. Just uninterested.
There's no K-pop Demon Hunters, I guess.
Uninterested. So we right now in Highland Park on Figueroa, the old movie theater, and then the shops they're transformed into the I guess early 70s of this or late 60s of this film.
So the Zenith store.
The Zenith store. There's like a women's dress. It looks great.
Yeah.
It's a perfect setting for this. Do you feel like this is going to affect your movie, knowing that at any point Cliff Booth could cross the street and pay $19.50 for an artisanal turkey sandwich at Cookbook?
I mean, we did buy the amazing Cookbook banana bread after our visit.
We will not be slandering Cookbook on this podcast. I want you to know.
That is
I have been Cookbook loyal since I lived in Echo Park,
Sure,
as I'm
me
sure
too.
you were.
I have to tell you.
But the sandwich now costs I'm going to look into the camera.
Well, those sandwiches are coming directly from Europe,
like
and these tariffs must end.
That's one of the first things I ate after I gave birth to Sai. I was like, bring me the turkey sandwich that I have not had for like 10 months.
That sandwich should be reserved only for people who have done incredible things.
Thank you so much. Yes.
Not for just the crew of the Adventures of Cliff Booth. You know what I mean?
It is really nice that they're filming in Los Angeles in our neighborhood.
That was
for this movie.
Great.
Very great. Andy Greenwald. One of the best out.
This is fun.
Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for letting me be a demon hunter.
Any other films that we reviewed that you vehemently disagreed with us on that you would like to call us out on now?
First of all, thank you for the opportunity. I would love to make this a recurring bit. I do think that we have mentioned every single film that I've seen in the last 6 months.
Got it. Copy that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think all 3.5 of them have been covered.
You saw Mission Impossible,
I
Final
did.
Reckoning. Yeah, you and Chris were mad.
Ugh.
Big mad.
That was really
It's not very good.
Yeah.
It's not very
And I
good.
saw Superman.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Fantastic Four, great. Saw Thunderbolts. Really liked it.
I agree. It was good.
And
all these haters forgot that I was like, Thunderbolt's good.
Materialist. You seen it yet?
Not yet.
Check in with us.
Not yet.
Yeah.
I would like to have a conversation
I
with
would
you.
as well.
Because I'm a songstress.
Okay.
I loved that first movie. I love Past Lives.
Past Lives.
Okay.
This is a little different.
I need you to do Materialists and Too Much. And then
I know.
we'll come
we
on
have
the watch.
to do. Okay.
Yeah.
You're welcome for
Girls'
the Too Much
Hour.
conversation. Here's my materialist thing. Can I do a before and after?
Yeah.
Sure.
Past Lives, one of my favorite movies in the last few years. Like for me, like I can't wait to see what this woman does next. And then of all the people she could make a movie with, she's at the height of her power, right? Like coming off that movie, she chooses Dakota to be in this movie.
I'm on the record about this.
The Madam Web slander. And that's what I call her. That's what her friends call her.
They call her
Madam Web on on a daily basis. I think she's powerful.
She's a poor performer.
Yeah, it
seems like a great
She's
gal.
not the only one in that movie.
Here's the thing.
Speaking of Fantastic Four.
I don't get it with it. Like it's just maybe it's just like it's like a color spectrum I can't see.
Preaching to the choir, Andy.
Okay.
I think Pedro is decent in Fantastic Four. He's
I mean,
it's
what's
a
up
hard
with that
part.
man? He's just Gumby?
Oh, well his powers are dumb. So I thought they and always have been. So
yeah, he's
so
he's just like stressed and
he's
bad
smart.
at public relations. He's not.
No, he's the smart guys.
They didn't communicate that. He was really boring.
The core of the movie that I feel like you guys missed, maybe this is a color spectrum you can't see. And I said this on the watch, but like they get to the point where they're like, smartest man in the world, what's your solve here for the purple space god who's going to eat Earth? He's like, we're going to fucking teleport Earth.
Yeah.
That's comic books. I love that. That's insanity.
Yeah.
And the movie was like, cool, great idea.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted that. That made me happy.
Yeah.
I'm really happy you found something you like. It's nice. Thank you, Andy Greenwald.
Look, this is basically like that web series where that guy argued with the fascists, right? Like this
It's a jubilee.
You have the same setup here, and I was brave enough to do it. So let's see you guys step into the arena over across the hall, Studio 6.
We'll have you back for the
we'd be
Fantastic
honored.
Four second steps.
Fantastic 5? No, Fantastic Four.
Fantastic Franklin.
Say,
Oh, there we go.
Shit writes
about a
itself.
magic baby.
There we go.
He saved his mom.
I know.
Come
Yeah.
on.
But the mama's really saved everyone else, you know?
Yeah, and then she deserves a $19 sandwich.
There we go.
We're done. Solved it.
Okay, Andy's gone. Just me and you.
Yeah.
We can finally talk about what we've been longing to discuss. I know what you did last summer.
Yes.
2025.
Yes.
This movie is written and directed by Jennifer Caton Robinson. It is co-written by Sam Lansky. It stars Madelyn Cline, Chase Sui Wonders, Jonah Hauer-King, Tyreek Withers, Sarah Pidgeon, Billy Campbell, among others. This is a legacy-sequel / reboot of, I would argue, the second most significant, not second best, but second most significant
Yes.
teen slasher
Yes.
in the 1990s rebirth of horror.
Yes. The Oppenheimer to Scream's Barbie.
That seems
Yes.
a little generous
Yes.
to I know what you did last
It's
summer.
important. And it did. And if you were there, which we were, it was a pop cultural moment that brought in like a whole new genre or introduced a generation to a whole new genre, brought, I think, horror like a little more mainstream and more pop, and introduced a lot of very important stars. So I Know What You Did Last Summer is extremely important culturally, the original.
Yep. It was a hit, like a solid hit for its time. I revisited the movie a couple of months ago. I don't know if you had a chance to look at it again.
Yeah.
Not the greatest script in the world, not the best performances you've ever seen, but you know when you can tell you're watching a studio movie from the 90s and all the people who are on the crew like have spent 28 years learning their craft, and the movie just weirdly looks beautiful for a Hollywood movie. Like it's lit gorgeously, the staging is really nice, real locations. It has like it's not a great movie by any means, but it has a kind of quality feeling that is not just, I'm not just speaking prismatically through my own nostalgia, because the script is not good, but it looks better than I think what a lot of films that are shot on digital look like now.
It is contemporaneous with Dawson's Creek and also written by Kevin Williamson, who created Dawson's Creek. It is set on like the southern coast, much like Dawson's Creek.
Of the American South, yes.
Sure. And, Dawson's Creek was also featured in like J. Crew catalogs in the 90s. This was an aesthetic that was being created and was powerful in the moment. So yeah, I agree. It's not as good as Scream, and it is like lightweight, like amateur Scream in a lot of ways. It was for the me's of the world and not for the you's in the 90s, but it's still something that we should respect.
One of the best things that has going for it is its title and its sort of premise of receiving a note about the guilt that people feel. Anyone can relate to like, oh, that one thing I did. I hope no one finds out about this one thing that I did. And of course, it has this cast in 1997, Jennifer Love Hewitt at the absolute apex of her, like, every guy I knew was gaga over her. Sarah Michelle Gellar. I don't know if it was during the Buffy the Vampire Slayer run, might have been right before she started as Buffy. Freddie Prinze Jr., who would go on to marry Sarah Michelle Gellar and was a bit of a heartthrob of his own at the time, and Ryan Phillippe.
Yeah.
So you've got these four very well-known actors, in addition to like Johnny Galecki, who would go on to be on Big Bang Theory. And there's a lot of recognizable faces in that movie. Again, like I said, a movie that I think is fun, but never really meant a whole lot to me. It did get a sequel in 99, 2000 maybe.
Yeah.
That is not very good.
No, I don't even remember what happens in it, though I did see it in theaters.
There's a continuation of the hook-handed killer.
Yeah. The hook-handed killer is good, in my opinion.
It's good. It's a bit of a rehash of some 80s stuff.
Well, sure. But it is also like the one ghost story that you got told at camp, the person with the hook. So again, it is, I understand, it is really, really mainstream, like kind of lame starter horror stuff for people who had it on vinyl or whatever.
Yep.
But it's a good conceit.
You nailed it. That is the perfect way to describe it. And it's one of the reasons why I think it crossed over is like all the horror heads were like, I got to go see this, even if it's not that good.
Yeah.
And a lot of young men and women, teenagers who watched Dawson's Creek were like, I got to go see this.
Party of Five, et cetera.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
it was a certain era. Now, we actually exist in a somewhat similar era culturally. When you look at this cast in particular and some of the movies and TV shows that they've starred in, for example, Madelyn Cline, the movie's really being sold on Madelyn Cline, one of the stars of Outer Banks, one of the stars of Glass Onion, kind of your typical young blonde ingenue. And even though she isn't the main character of this movie, it's interesting how much they have focused on her in the marketing of the movie, because Chase Sui Wonders is really the key final girl. And the story, again, takes place in Southport. It is, again, about a group of friends who one night after a party are driving on the road. They find their way to Reaper's Curve. They get into some trouble, and then boom, all of a sudden someone died. Now they feel a modicum of guilt for that death. Whether or not they are responsible for that death is something I would like to explore with you as to whether or not this movie even works at all. But before I say anything else, what did you think of I Know What You Did Last Summer 2025?
I thought this was disrespectful to its audience. I was angry. I thought this was disrespectful to the 90s and to those of us who remember the 90s, and also to the young people of today who deserve better in their storytelling, in their kills, honestly. And I'm not an expert. And I was like, what is this? Who shot this? Why is this? Why are we cutting away at all of just the blocking was very unimpressive. Obviously, the ending is just silly. But we have to stop saying the T word. We just have to stop saying it. Like, I understand that,
trauma.
Yeah. There is real trauma throughout the world.
Mhm.
And also in every single horror movie ever. And again, I'm not an expert. And I know that it's all a metaphor for people exploring some tough stuff that happened to them. But when we have to spoon feed it on a chalkboard with Jennifer Love Hewitt reanimated, like, I can't. I'm out. It's condescending.
Yeah, I think that one of the challenges of this movie, which I think is dreadful, like really one of the worst movies of the year. It pains me to say that. I would love for a teen slasher to be a lot of fun. I love slashers so much. This movie can't decide if it wants to be like a camp satire of the original film and all slashers, or a serious meditation on what trauma is. One of my biggest problems with trauma horror in the last 5 or 6 years is not showing us what happened to the people. At least in this case, we are seeing the trauma transpire.
Well, one generation's. And you and I have seen the other.
And this movie flashes back literally to the older film, which looks better than this movie. And also
makes these beloved actors give you dense, poorly written exposition that they're not feeling as they're delivering it. How about that?
Yeah. I mean, here's a huge problem. The characters in this movie are so thinly drawn. Mm-hmm. It's not that the prom queen and the brown-haired, mousy, normal girl who's also Jennifer Love Hewitt in the original film were the deepest characters. It's not, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest in the original film, but in this movie, it's literally the blonde hot one,
right?
The hot one who's not blonde and is actually the final girl,
right? It's
the bland guy who you don't remember his first name. It's the jock who drinks too much, and it's the skinny outsider girl. We don't know anything about these people. That isn't, exposition to us for 1 minute.
Right.
They have no defining personality traits. They're just kind of floating through this story.
I completely agree and the characterization is only, did you have a trauma or not? That's the only development. I did think some of the performances were enjoyable anyway. I thought Madelyn Cline was very good. I thought Tyreek Withers was very good, and Sarah Pigeon, I enjoyed as well.
Yeah, they're fine. They're fine.
Listen,
they're not bad.
It's not their fault.
They're not bad. I think it's a huge misuse of Chase Sui Wonders, who, if you watch the studio, she's is an actress with a real sense of humor, and this is a movie that doesn't really let her get to be funny until the final minute of the movie, which is one of the biggest misstrokes in the whole film.
Yeah. She does. Her styling is pretty good.
I was sure. Okay.
Well, and she was wearing a lot of little socks with her sandals, and I thought she looked great, and I also felt as old as the sun when I was watching. I was like, this is for people way
is that a
younger
trend
than me
right now.
Oh yeah. For many years,
sandals.
little ankle socks,
or
with the
sandals.
loafers.
Okay, great.
This is 3 or 4 years now running. Come on, I need you to.
Not something I'm aware of.
Okay.
Not going to look into it either. You
stick with.
Let's explore what happens in this movie, right?
Okay.
So in the original film, the 4 friends are out drinking down on the beach one night after Sarah Michelle Gellar's character is named Queen of the Town, right? She's the young teen princess of the town. And they're getting rip shit, and they're driving home. The driver is sober, but Ryan Phillippe is standing up through the sunroof of the car and going crazy, and they hit a drifter with their car, and they think they killed somebody, and they leave the scene of the crime, right? And they bear this incredible guilt, and then they start getting stalked 1 year later by either the person they killed or someone that was related to it or whatever. Yeah. In this film, the Tyreek Withers character is high, and he's playing in the road, and a car goes by, and he almost gets hit by the car, and his friend Milo saves him. And then another car comes immediately after that, and they're still kind of standing in the road, but they're pulled off to the side of the road, and the car swerves and drives off a cliff.
Okay.
So this is not ideal. This is not something you want to happen. It's not ethical.
Yeah.
What they do in the aftermath of this.
No, which is go back to the rich dad's home, and he quote unquote handles everything.
Yeah, but they call the police. The police come to survey the scene of the crime. They do call the police, and then they leave the scene, and they don't go to the police and tell them what happened or what their role was in it. Now, again, this wasn't a nice thing to do.
Yeah.
But this is a critical error to me in the movie, and I'll tell you why.
Okay, go ahead.
this movie like wants us to love its characters. It wants us to be on their side, and it wants us to make sure that they don't die. This is a slasher movie. The teenagers have to die.
Right.
That's the whole point of the movie. The movie is not that they're like actually good kids. These are like rich kids from Southport.
Yeah.
But
they have trauma.
So that.
You know, so it's like they've got it. I agree with you. It's so stupid.
It's such a poor idea. Like there has to be something in it. Like even the Tyreek Withers character, who is like the worst one of the group, is just
He's
like
actually very charming.
Is pretty entertaining in the movie and is just like a rich alcoholic. You know, and that's fine. The idea that we are not like excited to watch these people get killed.
Right. Because we have to like all of them because everyone has to be relatable and you can only have like quote unquote good characters in your movies and Pedro Pascal can't work in private equity. You know what I'm saying? Like it's stupid.
It is a problem. It is really a problem in a certain kind of
and
studio
these
movie.
children need to demand more. You know, and really the people who are making entertainment for them need to stop condescending. Because that's why I think it is genuinely insulting to think that this is what people want.
One of the best things about the first movie is that Sarah Michelle Gellar dies. Not that it's like great to watch Sarah Michelle Gellar die, but it's a choice that they make to kill off one of the most notable characters in the movie in a dramatic way.
Yeah.
This movie has no stakes.
They fake it a couple times, but they're not even good fakes.
I agree. It's a pretty big mistake. So the kids are too likable and most of them don't die. And the ways in which they do is, as you said, not very dramatic or very scary. It feels like a few filmmakers who have not made a horror movie before maybe lack some of the understandings of the mechanics of how to shoot sequences. And so it doesn't work that well. And they're using this IP to kind of springboard into an opportunity. Let's talk about the return of the original cast.
Okay.
So, spoiler alert, 3 of the 4 members of the original cast return. You might be wondering how that's possible, given the events of the first film. We'll explain it. In this movie, Jennifer Love Hewitt's character is a psychology professor.
Yeah, she's a trauma specialist.
Yeah, Julia James.
Mm-hmm.
I'll come back to her. Still living in the town of Southport, and he will not forget the past, is Freddie Prinze Jr.'s character, Ray, who is now a bar owner. And then in again, spoiler alert, bewildering dream sequence, Sarah Michelle Gellar's character returns to deliver a kind of speech to Madelyn Cline's character about what she's done and what's coming for her and the consequences of her actions. Who do you want to start with first?
Well, I agree that in terms of story and logic and again, insulting the audience, the dream sequence was very stupid. But I thought Sarah Michelle Gellar was the best of the 3 by far. And it's great to see her. She's a star. And she and Madelyn Cline have a nice, but she's also doing like full Cruel Intentions, Sarah Michelle Gellar. And
she is.
I'm always happy to see that, even if it's in a totally contrived dream sequence.
She has kind of slipped away. She doesn't really act as much as she used to.
Yeah.
I guess that's technically true for all 3 of these, former stars. But she immediately channels that character from the original movie. Mm-hmm. The sequence makes no sense and is pretty bad.
Yeah.
Why would Madelyn Cline know exactly what this character, how she speaks or how she acts in her dream sequence? She's never met her and she died 30 years ago.
Well,
I literally don't understand. Like, is that dreams? That's just fan service. Like all that sequence is. That being said, Sarah Michelle Gellar looks amazing.
Yeah, she does.
She has aged remarkably. Okay, Freddie Prinze Jr.
Yeah. This is tough. Tough beat.
Not really ever one of the great actors.
Well, yeah.
And I'm not sure that Ray is one of the great characters. He plays a critical role in this film.
Yeah.
So he is the sort of caretaker of a young woman named Stevie, whose parents have disappeared and left her in Southport, and she is grieving over certain losses. She's lost all her money. She was a former friend of this popular clique. And because she has fallen on hard times, they sort of abandoned her and went off to college and started their lives. And she comes back into their lives with this incident. And Ray, I guess, is like her business partner or something. Turns out they've got more cooking than just working together because they're scheming on murder.
Sure. They're working together.
Some of the weirdest murder plots you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah. Don't really make a lot of sense. And then he does have to carry the emotional weight of the turn and convey not just that he is the secret co-killer, But also he is the secret co-killer because of what 30 years of PTSD has done to him.
Yes.
And what it means to him and his community. And this script does not help, but I would not say that emotional weight is conveyed to us.
Okay, so let me pitch something at you because I thought this was interesting. My friend Chris Rosen proffered a theory on Letterboxd that he was like, this would have been a lot better if the killers in this movie were actually just Ray and Julia, and that they went full bore, like, don't forget about us. Forget it. Like, this is what generations do.
Sure. Yeah.
And it's not just the trauma of the past. It's that, like, there's a kind of narcissism in every generation. And we're getting our revenge on you because of how we have been wounded by what happened to us.
I'm open to it.
That would have, and there's like a glint of that in the speech that he gives at the end of the movie, where he's kind of trying to gesture towards that, but also saying Stevie was devastated because Sam, her boyfriend, was the guy who accidentally drove off the cliff. And it's like, he did drive off the cliff. They didn't like push the car off the cliff, you know? Like, he did have a car accident.
Right.
And she needs to kill all these people that she went to high school with?
I will say that I am not an expert on, like, I'm not in the emergency services, but I don't know if their protocol as the car was balancing on the cliff was like helping
what would
the
you
situation.
Do? What would you have done?
Well, no one was thinking about counterweights, you know? Like,
But would you have sat on the back of the truck bed?
I was not good at physics, but there was some like simple machine stuff that we could have done there.
Yeah, you don't want to get on the vehicle and then fall with the vehicle.
No, it's true, but they were just kind of like standing there.
Yeah.
It took them too long to punch into the window.
Well, no, the other guy, the guy who was inside punched out of the window. And that's why he fell.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I don't know. It's just in that case, they didn't do the best that they could do.
Yeah. Incompetence all around.
Yeah.
Sam, the driver, the 5 kids who failed to save Sam, and then Stevie losing her mind thinking that it was their fault that Sam died. So
does she not recognize Sam's car also in that moment?
Well, we learned that it's the pastor's car and that Sam has been borrowing it.
But she's like in the photos at the church.
It's a great point. It's a plot hole. There are a variety of plot holes.
I know it's true. I'm just, we're here. We spend our time watching this film, so now we ask the questions.
Yeah.
I think
I can deal with plot holes in horror movies. That's not the biggest issues to me.
To go back to the Chris Rosen theory of if it were Ray and Julie, I think that works and is a lot better. It still does rely on a good script or a better script, and also actors able to convey that level of emotional things and to show, not tell, which is, my major problem with all of the trauma plotline in this, which is just literally everyone's diagramming, I have a trauma, which is so, I thought it was very nice to see Jennifer Love Hewitt. But,
it's tough. So let's try to, for those at home who don't really know about this or remember, there was a period of time, obviously she was born out of Party of Five. She played Scott Wolf's girlfriend on the series. And she hit in a series of movies, Can't Hardly Wait, Heartbreakers, this film, a handful of others. And she's an obvious object of affection for a lot of teenage boys. But I thought, not a great actress by any means, but kind of a good, weird comic energy. Like, she could sit in a movie like Can't Hardly Wait very comfortably.
Yeah. Amanda,
I'm very sorry for you.
Okay.
Over time, she became more of a TV star. Eventually, she was the Ghost Whisperer, which I know you watched every episode of. And
what?
She was the Ghost Whisperer. She whispered to ghosts.
In what content? So that was a show? What happens? I mean, she whispers to ghosts, but like where? Where are the ghosts? Are they around the world? Is she a globetrotter?
I think she was in New Orleans, I want to say. And, there'd be ghosts down in New Orleans, as we all know. And she would help connect people with crimes that were committed and things like that.
Is this like a CSI thing?
But supernatural.
Okay, but like, was it on CBS?
Yes,
or was it was?
I believe it was CBS.
Okay.
Yeah.
For how many seasons?
And she was also the star of The Client List, which was a series where she was like a madam.
Oh, dear.
I think that was on USA.
Oh, right. And that was inspired by a news story, or?
I think there might have been flecks of Heidi Fleiss in there, but I don't know that it was really her life story.
Oh, wow. I didn't know about Ghost Whisperer.
Oh, yeah. It was kind of I don't know if it was a big show.
It's sort of like Medium, but
Yes, but minus Patricia Arquette's talent,
right?
I would
well,
say.
yeah. I mean, once again, we're circling around a thing.
Yeah.
New Orleans is also just the wrong setting for Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Ghost Whisperer. Melinda Gordon is a young woman who can communicate with the earthbound spirits of people who have died and who seek her help. She uses it to relay significant messages and important information to the living, but sometimes the messages she receives are intense and confusing, etc., etc. Let me just make sure I find out where this show takes place in Grandview, New York. I apologize to the fine people of New Orleans.
Okay. I mean, I guess that's better than New Orleans, but I don't know. It's
never been to Grandview. Can't say I know it very well. It's in Rockland County. Anyway, I bring all this up because JLH, she used to mean something to a certain kind of person in this world.
Yeah.
Her acting has not gotten better.
No.
And she's not very good in this movie at all. And it's a problem. It's a problem. She's not helped by the script, but when she comes on screen, people in my room, my audience were laughing.
Oh,
and it was a little mean. It was kind of a mean room, to be honest with you. Not the best crowd I've seen a movie with in the last few years.
They were just disrespectful.
A lot of talking.
Okay.
My chair was kicked quite a few times.
That is frustrating.
Not ideal.
I really lost it on my toddler yesterday because he was kicking my chair.
Yeah.
So it's
not
really,
one of my favorite things.
It's enervating.
It is.
Yeah.
And so you've got these three actors who were aging and who seem like nice people. I got nothing against them. They gave me a lot of joy in the 90s, but they also can't carry the load of this week's script. And
who was that other guy who dies?
Which other guy?
I don't know. The boring guy. Chase Suey Wonders is like sort of ex.
That was Jonah Hauer King.
What's up with him?
He was Prince Eric in the live action Little Mermaid film. Which I've seen.
Sure. I've seen it too. Yeah. I saw it in theaters. Javier Bardem, King Triton.
I did as well. I didn't like that movie very much.
I didn't either.
He's just a bland guy with abs.
He's like, is he on Stranger Things or something? Like at this point, I can't keep
No,
track.
I don't think he's on a show like that. I think he's just trying to make it in the biz.
Joseph Quinn was on Stranger Things. I learned that from Instagram this morning.
That is true.
Yeah.
Good for you. Nice find by you. Interesting. The most popular show of the last 5 years. So, yeah, this movie's bad. Here's the thing. The ending is a nightmare for a variety of reasons.
Sure.
It's not just the reveal of Ray's involvement in the murder and the boat kill. The boat kill reminded me a little bit of Wild Things. Do you remember the movie Wild Things?
Of course I remember the movie Wild Things.
Featuring Neve Campbell,
Listen,
star of Party of Five.
We were there. It was something important.
But then something happens at the very end of the movie. So we learn that Madelyn Cline's character actually survives a gunshot on the boat.
Yeah.
She, I guess, is washed ashore.
I guess so, yeah. Because then she has like a dramatic coming back to life, much like, spoiler alert, Vanessa Kirby in Fantastic Four.
That's true. Also, Chase Suey Wonders survives.
Yeah.
And they're down at the old Southport Hospital. They're getting out of there.
Which has incredible merch. They're not getting out. I think they're just like on...
Oh, they're just on a wander?
Yeah,
okay.
And they're wearing, instead
time?
Of hospital gowns, they're wearing like Southport, like hospital sweatshirts.
Okay.
And which honestly looked, I was like, this is pretty good. Hospital should
get you one of
investigate
those.
this.
Yeah. And then they go for sit down by the beach and they have a little chit chat. And then the movie just like record scratches into a completely different movie with funny dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
And I think at the end, Wonders says, we could have avoided all this if men would just go to therapy.
Right. Yeah.
Which I know is like a really funny joke from the internet, but the killer in the movie is a young woman who is traumatized by...
Right. Well, but then also another man.
And
then if the original killer in the first one had gone... I mean, I think it sucks.
So if the man...
And by the way, yeah.
In the first film had gone to therapy, we could have avoided this franchise?
So he didn't have to be mad.
But
that
I don't
want
to avoid the franchise. I want to avoid this movie.
It was terrible and not funny. There are a few jokes like this sprinkled throughout the movie of them trying to be like internet-y and like quote unquote hip. You know, there's one thing where Madelyn Cline is like, have you seen the meme about how if someone you love died, would you still do your skincare routine? The answer is yes. So yeah, it's really annoying.
What'd you think of the podcast host? Live, Laugh, Slaughter?
Yeah, Live, Laugh, Slaughter. It was funny.
Okay. Did you feel indicted?
No, because I don't really partake of the true crime industry. And I do think they're kind of weird. So I didn't mind sending that one up. And, representation matters, as we learned. So it's nice for us that everyone's out there. Yeah. And she was hot. So as they say.
They pointed that out a couple of times. She was hot. Very strange movie. Did not succeed at the box office at all. And I guess I'm a little bit surprised by that. We are getting a little bit long in the tooth on the 90s Lega sequel. Obviously, Scream has now had 2 iterations. We're getting a 3rd iteration of the new cast.
Yeah.
But they're refocusing on Sydney. Nev Campbell is back.
Right.
She did get paid. You know, I pretty much like the last 2 Scream movies. The first one, The Return, I thought was pretty darn good. The last one was quite silly, but I had fun.
Is that one with who is the guy in it?
It's the same crew from the previous film.
Okay.
And one of the guys is stabbed like 9 times, but he survives.
Yeah.
A very memorable fake out death. But this does have me thinking about the 90s and what it was, what it gave us. It's obviously a signal decade on the podcast. 90s in horror is very strange. You, for probably the first 5 years of the 90s, fair to say, were like not aware of anything that was happening in the horror space, I have to imagine. But then in the
mid to late, I participated.
You're a teenager, right? You're going to the movies.
And it really does break out of the genre box.
It does.
A little.
It does. It kind of goes more mainstream than it had been. The late 80s are really defined by the big monsters that emerged from all the slasher movies. Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees, Chucky, Pinhead, and the movies really bled those characters dry.
Just Googling Pinhead. Oh, that guy.
From Hellraiser,
okay.
yes.
Sure, yeah.
I think there have been 5 Hellraiser movies. I think there have been like 9 Chucky movies. There have been 12 Friday the 13th movies. You know, the list is long.
Yeah.
And they were really every 18 to 24 months, you get a new one of these movies. I do want to represent them somewhat. The 90s is this weird place where there's some new stuff. You get some mainstream stuff like Scream, which is probably the most important movie of the era. But you also get some more high-toned stuff. And this is really where I think genre becomes a safe space for art, for lack of a better word. It doesn't mean that John Carpenter is not art, but those are mostly movies that were pitched at mainstream audiences. But now in this decade, you get a lot more films that are a little bit more experimental or a lot more foreign films that make their way overseas than we had previously been getting in America. I'm not totally sure the 90s is actually that much worse than, say, the 2000s. I've been thinking about this a little bit the last couple of days. The 2000s for horror, the biggest trend was just remaking 70s and 80s horror movies. So off the top of my head last night, I just wrote down Carrie, The Fog, Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, Last House on the Left, Hills Have Eyes, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Halloween, Amityville Horror, My Bloody Valentine, Dawn of the Dead, Fright Night, House of Wax. All those movies got remade. Those are all horror movies.
Yeah.
That was the 2000s, which we think of as like maybe a better time, but it might have just been a more popular time for horror movies. So the 90s are not bad per se, but I'm trying to figure out what happened.
Okay.
Why did the genre come back in the mid 90s after having kind of a fallow period in the early part of the decade? I don't want to get too galaxy brain about Bill Clinton's America.
Okay.
But I think there's something in there.
Yeah, of course.
You know, something in there about illicit desire and scandal and cover up and, you know, the brainworms that a lot of people on the right had about whatever was going on with Who Killed Vince Foster and all that shit that I think bred a little bit of a genre shift in our thinking. I think you can attribute some of the like serial killer wave to a lot of that thinking too. That's a question I have for you as we get into this exercise. You know, Seven and Silence of the Lambs and Kiyoshi Kurosawa's Cure, who we just talked about on the show, are 3 of the best serial killer movies ever made. Are those movies horror movies?
You were talking about this recently.
In Chicago, we talked about it.
Oh, Silence of the Lambs? Yeah. Did we talk about it in person or on a podcast?
We talked about it in person. It was me and you and Chris and Tracy in a car. On the way to the Steppenwolf Theater.
Okay. I was like, I've been a part of this recently.
Yeah.
And you guys were defining it mostly through kill time?
Well, that was what Chris said. Chris was like, how many kills happen in this movie? And in Seven, famously, I think only one character is murdered. I think, right? Isn't only John Doe murdered? Or I guess maybe the dying drug addict is shot.
Right. You do see more in Silence of the Lambs, but it is still focused on the investigation as opposed to the art of the kill. And the kill is set piece.
Yes.
I guess. So
Cure as well is a series of investigations. There is some perverse stuff that happens in it. And so, I'm kind of inclined to leave them off of this list.
I think that's right.
And just say that these are very special movies. They're great. If you want to say Silence of the Lambs is terrifying, that's understandable. But it makes it a little bit easier, I think, to navigate what matters from this time. Stephen King.
Mm-hmm. Speak on it.
Obviously one of my faves.
Sure.
I've watched every adaptation of everything that has ever been made of his work. I stopped reading his novels a long time ago, but I still will watch any movie of a novel that he has written.
Okay.
We have a couple more coming later this year. The Long Walk is out in September, for example. The 90s is interesting. Bunch of movies.
Mm-hmm.
You could make the case that the very best movies that were adapted from his work are not horror movies.
Yes.
Right? Because that's Shawshank, Dolores Claiborne, and The Green Mile.
Yeah. Romy Mars agrees.
Romy Mars, what does she like?
She likes Shawshank. Remember, she joined Letterboxd just to like Shawshank.
Oh, and what's in her top 4 right now?
I honestly didn't check.
Okay, you look it up and I'll talk. Here are the King movies that came out then. Misery, The Lawnmower Man, Needful Things, The Dark Half, Thinner. Not bad. Misery, the best of the bunch for sure. Misery would probably be right on the outside looking in for me.
Okay.
Movie I like, great William Goldman script, amazing performance by Kathy Bates. The reason I'm not putting any King stuff on is because I think the best stuff is TV.
All right.
It and The Stand, two of my favorite things from the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
TV miniseries. They wouldn't make the canon on a movie podcast.
Mm-hmm.
On a TV podcast, perhaps. That would be a good episode for the watch. A miniseries episode. There have been a lot of great miniseries over the years. We've kind of had miniseries have been bastardized by streaming.
And then they're not really miniseries anymore. Then they just become,
8-episode shows, and then they get a second season all of a sudden. Okay, so no King, no serial killers. David Lynch?
It seems like something different.
It does.
Said with respect.
Yeah. Twin Peaks, Fire Walk with Me, and Lost Highway make a lot of sense in the conversation.
Yeah.
But they are also, these movies are maybe more psychological thriller than pure horror.
Right. And they encapsulate the feeling of horror in a lot of ways.
They freak you out.
And the horror of the everyday, but they are not Chris Ryan's like watching people get slashed.
Yes.
Definition. Always.
Okay. This is a big one.
Yeah.
The Sixth Sense.
Well, I mean, I think that this is pure thriller and not.
There are ghosts.
Sure. Oh, that's right.
There are ghosts.
But the ghosts aren't. Are they committing violence?
No.
Right. So I think violence is the.
Oh, interesting. You think that's an organizing principle of horror?
That's what we're working towards.
Jack
right now.
Sanders, can I get you to weigh in on The Sixth Sense? Is it a pure horror movie?
Blind Spot.
Whoa!
You've never seen Sixth Sense?
Never seen it.
Do you know what happens?
I see ghosts, right? Little kid says I see ghosts.
No.
Well,
dude,
yeah,
tonight.
Okay, don't Google anything.
Tonight.
Don't say anything.
Okay.
You do actually need to watch The Sixth Sense.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, understood.
That's great. That's a really cool blind spot to not know.
Also, I can't believe it
envy
hasn't spoiled for you. Okay, we have to stop talking about it. I don't think it qualifies.
It's right on the line.
Yeah, but it's
also 1999 and it like changed a lot of things.
It can also like you could say that it's the exception that makes the rule, but like let's be purists.
Okay. I know what you did last summer is not going on the list. I just want you to know that.
I do know that, and I think that's really insulting.
Okay. I want to acknowledge it. I also want to acknowledge the wave of teen dimension films, movies that came in the aftermath, which was totally a thing for us when we were in high school.
Absolutely.
Disturbing Behavior, H2O, the Halloween Legacy sequel, Urban Legend, Idle Hands, Cherry Falls, Teaching Mrs. Tingle. These movies.
Teaching Mrs. Tingle was also Katie Holmes, which was of the Dawson's Creek.
Yes. There was a lot of connectivity. Teaching Mrs. Tingle was Kevin Williams' directorial debut. All of these movies, some of them are thrillers, some of them are pure horror, some of them are horror comedy. Teaching Mrs. Tingle was basically a comedy. But it was a subgenre that was very fun. Invariably, most of these movies kind of suck.
But we had a nice time.
But we had fun. Yeah. Yes, we were having a lot of fun. And whenever I'm like watching a really shitty Netflix streaming movie, I have to go back to the place where I saw Disturbing Behavior and be like, it's okay, they can have their shit. I had my dumb shit that I like too. I'm not going back to Disturbing Behavior anytime soon, but it was nice that we had that. Okay, a couple of other. Well, let's just talk about what's going to make it.
Okay.
Because there's a handful of very obvious ones that need to make it. So Scream.
Yeah. So Scream is standing in for all. Yeah, Scream is the defining I still remember I was in my Aunt Betty's basement where I watched the Braves finally win the World Series.
Talk about a horror movie.
And Scream, the original Scream. I was terrified out of my mind.
Hell of a double feature for the freaks out there.
But and also 2 defining events of the 90s. So...
Braves down so bad right now. It's the best.
I've renounced them, so I don't care.
It's
I was
the
there,
fucking best.
and I've moved on.
I got
myself.
no beef with the people of Atlanta. Fuck the Braves, for real.
I mean, many of the people in Atlanta also now have no connection to the Braves because they moved to Cobb
They're
County.
checking out,
So that's fine. But Scream was
totemic, an amazing.
It's number 1 on this
work.
list, I would say.
I think a movie that actually still holds up. Obviously, it's kind of self-awareness. It's kind of literally metastasizing 20 years of slashers and regurgitating and clarifying what the rules are and how these movies work. I think taught a lot of people, myself included, how to watch movies.
Yes.
And that seems dumb, but I saw it when I was 14 and it rocked my world.
Yeah.
I loved it. I still think it's a lot of fun. I wanted to pay homage to those monster movies, and this movie, which I assume you have not seen this one, but Wes Craven's New Nightmare, which was I think meant to be the final Freddy Krueger movie and is about the real people who made the Freddy Krueger movies and then Freddy entering that world. And it is also a similarly kind of metatextual examination of the work that we make and what really scares us. And these are 2 Wes Craven movies together, stacked on top of each other. And Wes is getting to be a little bit forgotten right now. He passed away a few years ago. He and John Carpenter are probably the 2 single most important filmmakers of that era, of the 80s and 90s for this genre. So I wanted to give some love to that movie. Blair Witch.
Yeah.
Did you see it in a movie theater?
I didn't.
Okay.
We rented it and saw it at home, and I was still terrified out of my mind.
Jack, Blair Witch Project, you've seen it?
Yes, very scary.
I revisited it last night. Final 20 minutes, have not lost its power. You've heard it before. I'm sure people heard it on the rewatchables when Chris and Bill talked about it. I was 17.
Yeah.
I don't know that I thought it was real, but it felt real enough to me.
We didn't know.
People freaking out in the movie theater. People crying at the end of the movie. Is it what just happened? Because there are a lot of people who weren't reading Entertainment Weekly who just showed up at the movie theater to see the sensation that night on opening night. And, obviously probably the most important found footage movie ever made. One of the best things about that movie is that it actually really sticks to the rules of found footage. And whenever you start to question why, it never really explores it, so that there is a kind of mystical unknown around why people keep filming during the worst thing that's ever happened to them.
Right, yeah.
That I think still really works very well. It's also 81 minutes and incredibly effective. Similarly to Scream, a movie that changed horror movies. So it has to be here. Now, I've got Bram Stoker's Dracula on here.
Okay.
What do you think about this?
I mean, at some point it's your list.
Okay.
And I guess it does, under the rules of the genre and violence, it follows. I think monsters in general, I know there's a long and storied history of it, but
Out on monsters.
I'm not that scared.
Interesting. Okay. You're more afraid of a human with a knife.
Yeah.
Than a monster.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, I've got Bram Stoker's Dracula on here because it's arguably the best made horror movie of that decade. Francis Ford Coppola with the most gorgeous production design, score, costumes.
Right.
Really good performances, give or take a Keanu Reeves, some great. I know that's rude, but he's not good in it. But Oldman cooking up something amazing. The makeup design for that character is sick, and I think it's good to kind of recognize the importance of monsters to these movies.
I do understand historically, but it's just kind of it's not their fault. They don't know what they're doing.
The monsters don't know? Oh, you think they're tortured? It's their trauma?
No, I mean, it's not that compelling to me.
Okay. What about the Wolfman as an expression of dulled masculinity? The beast coming out.
Honestly, I get a little bored. I'm work it out on your own time.
What about, you'll be seeing Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein on the Lido soon. And that's a story about
Jacob Elordi. So I'm fine with it.
Man controlling nature.
Yeah.
Right. And making up for lost time.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
And Mia Goth.
I'm excited to see it.
Okay.
But in general, it just always seems like it's like a man who got a little bored and then created something that got out of his control. And I'm like, well, that's a you problem.
You're saying Dr. Victor Frankenstein was an incel? Could have been.
Yeah.
Could have been. All right.
If Geppetto was a fascist.
So I wanted to choose between Hideo Nakata's Ring and Takashi Miike's Audition. Now, I know you've not seen either of these movies.
Yeah.
Ring, of course, is the basis for The Ring, the Gore Verbinski smash from whatever, 2002. Ring is very upsetting. It's a movie about a videotape that if you watch it, 7 days later, you die.
It's good conceit.
Incredible conceit. Executed amazingly. This is a brilliant movie. It's not quite as unnerving as Audition, which is a movie about an older guy who's seeking love and is looking for a woman who can make him see the world anew.
Yeah.
And he meets a woman and the woman is not what he thought she was going to be. And things go horribly. About as horribly as you can imagine. Now, I think you should watch this movie in part because it's clearly a big influence on our friend Mark Anthony Green's Opus. And there is a sequence in it that is pulled very closely from Audition.
Okay.
I'm going to give it to Ring because it came first. But these two movies, in terms of the new Japanese horror, which almost all of these movies, with the exception of Audition, got remade in America. And I think Ring is kind of the big bang of this stuff. So I'm going to put it there.
Okay.
We're getting into like movies Amanda hasn't seen territory. So just rock with me, okay?
I've seen a couple more of these.
Okay. In the Mouth of Madness is probably John Carpenter's last masterpiece.
Okay.
Stars Sam Neill as a man going utterly insane and following the writings of a man named Sutter Kane, who's a Stephen King-esque horror author who drives people mad with his visions of evil and the way that they want to follow his visions of evil.
If only he'd gone to therapy.
There's shades of that. I don't think that line is uttered in the movie. Was just announced this film will be released on 4K shortly.
Okay, congratulations.
In my text chain, we rejoiced.
Great.
We all said,
go, girl.
Thank goodness. I felt good about it. Great film.
Do they have Bring It On 4K? They do, actually, because Mallory's Adam just bought it and wanted me to know about it.
Mallory's husband, Adam.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure.
Birthday's just a few days away, Amanda. Okay, next is Candyman.
Yeah. I don't think I've seen this, but I've seen many clips of it. Like I'm conversant.
This is the rare pre-Scream horror movie that cracked through the subconscious at this time and stuck. Bernard Rose, English director, made this movie. The late great Tony Todd. We just talked about this movie that was a part of a trivia question in our Chicago movie draft, set in the Cabrini Green projects, starring Virginia Madsen. And if you didn't say Candyman 3 times or 5 times in a dark room while looking into a mirror, you weren't a teenager in the 90s. That was something that you were dared to do and still works.
Yeah.
I don't love the Legacy sequel remake that came out a few years ago from this movie, but the original still hits super hard. Event Horizon is for CR.
That's beautiful.
This is Paul W.S. Anderson's, not Paul Thomas Anderson, Paul W.S. Anderson's masterpiece. It's a movie about, lo and behold, Sam Neill losing his fucking mind on a spaceship.
Yeah.
It's space horror. It's the lone sci-fi horror in this movie. Some very upsetting images in this movie. I do not think you can watch this one. But it's wonderful, incredibly scary, and holds its power. Exorcist 3.
All right.
Was chatting with Tracy and Chris about this list when we were in Chicago, and they both cited this as a pro. I thought this would be a good callback to the horror classics of the 70s and 80s. Now, Exorcist 2, directed by John Borman, not good. Kind of incoherent.
Right.
Exorcist 3 features perhaps the great jump scare of the 1990s.
Wow.
So
Don't tell me.
Maybe we can watch it on YouTube together as soon as we're done recording this.
That's an X. DVD extra, podcast extra?
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be.
Okay.
Last but not least, Funny Games.
Yeah. The German.
Is this a horror movie? This is a home invasion thriller.
I mean, things get gnarly.
Yes. In the same conversation with Tracy, he said, this is the most scared I've ever been of a movie. About 2 preppy, tennis-clad young men who enter a family's home and absolutely terrorize and brutalize them for an entire evening for reasons that are unclear.
I think, yes, it has to be. Because we're also counting like Speak No Evil as a horror movie. And that's very much in the tradition of. So
definitely. And it
just,
fits the violence law that
exactly,
you created.
just because they're preppy.
There's some, well, I think that's kind of the point, who was really brutalizing our lives in modern society.
Right. Was American Psycho part of this? I mean, it's 2000, so it's not eligible, but were we talking about that in this conversation?
I don't think it came up. It would be an interesting, there's not really any satires on my list right now. I think Scream is probably as close as you can get.
Right.
New Nightmare has some of that feeling too, but yeah, it's definitely a contender.
Right.
I don't know if I was really scared of American Psycho. I think I felt very on the wavelength of its humor when I saw it.
Right.
There is something obviously very unnerving about it.
Right. And also like disgusted by, but the movie is also disgusted by what it's portraying. Yeah. So,
obviously Bret Easton Ellis' novel, but a film directed by a woman, Mary Herron, and she has a pretty keen insight, I think, into what she's portraying. I'm going to give you my runners up.
Okay.
Arachnophobia.
Okay.
I didn't do.
Oh my God, there are 30 movies on that. Are you just going to read a list?
Some of them
are
I've already
movies?
said.
Okay.
Army of Darkness.
Okay.
This is for the heads who are just like, but what about?
Sure, of course.
Brain Dead. Peter Jackson's extremely gory horror comedy. Cemetery Man.
Yeah.
Starring your boy Rupert Everett. I think this is the movie that got him my best friend's wedding job. The Craft.
Yeah. This one I've seen, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, I
think the girlies are like, why won't you put The Craft on?
I don't think Charlie XX is going to come on our podcast now.
Shit. It's good. I rewatched it. It's kind of in the I Know What You Did Last Summer vein where I'm like, it's fun.
But I think that you are looking at, you're a snob. Okay. And you value different things.
I've heard that
okay.
before. I've heard it before.
That's okay.
Speaking of Guillermo del Toro, Kronos, his first movie, I think this is really, really good. Death Becomes Her, kind of a horror comedy.
Yeah, but like more comedy.
More comedy.
I've seen it. Did you know it's now a musical on Broadway?
I did. Tony winning, I believe.
Oh, really?
I think so.
Congratulations to them.
It looks quite elaborate. I would watch that.
Okay.
For my birthday, I got tickets to go see. What is it? What am I going to see? It's one of the August Wilson plays that's playing in Pasadena. Is it Joe Turner's Come and Gone?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which I'm pretty excited about.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That
was my gift from my wife. I know.
That's
I love the theater. Well, again, I keep bringing up Tracy because we were talking about this a lot because he obviously is a man of the theater. And I don't really go as much in Los Angeles as I used to in New York. In New York, I was I was going to see shows all the time. So this year, I'm going to try to get back to that.
Okay.
A few fewer movies and more stage productions. I think would make me happy. The Faculty. It isn't actually good.
Okay.
Obviously, it has some pieces of Sinners.
Yeah.
Coogler cited this movie a couple times in his press tour for Sinners. I rewatched it and was a little disappointed. Ghostwatch is a British movie that I only recently saw for the first time, but is incredibly influential. Encourage people to check that out.
Mm-hmm.
The two Tales from the Crypt movies, Demon Knight and Bordello of Blood.
Okay.
They both rock.
Yeah.
Tales from the Crypt, I watched it every weekend on HBO when I was a little kid. I loved it. Larry Fessenden's Habit, just for the indie heads. A couple more. Leprechaun.
Mm-hmm.
It's fucking terrible. It stars Jennifer Aniston, but it was a thing.
Yeah.
That kind of.
I remember it.
There was a Night of the Living Dead remake that Tom Savini made in 1990. People Under the Stairs, also a Wes Craven movie.
Okay.
That's a movie about racism. Still holds.
Yeah.
Stir of Echoes. David Koepp, your favorite Jurassic Park screenwriter, hit one of his, I think it's his second film after The Trigger Effect, a really effective horror movie with Kevin Bacon that I think you actually would enjoy. And then Tremors, which is a movie about giant monsters living under the ground that start eating up a desert town.
All right.
Also stars Kevin Bacon and Fred Ward.
Okay. You feel good? Read your list.
Okay, my top 10 is as follows. Scream, Wes Craven's New Nightmare, The Blair Witch Project, Bram Stoker's Dracula, Ring, In the Mouth of Madness, Candyman, Event Horizon, The Exorcist 3, and Funny Games, the German version, 1997.
Much like its remake, you are being disrespectful to I Know What You Did Last Summer, but that's okay. Otherwise, I bless this list.
Thank you. I appreciate your support in this effort. Thanks to our producer, Jack Sanders, for his work on this episode. Later this week, we're breaking down a pair of summer comedies. Maybe we'll make another canon while we're at it. The Naked Gun and the recently released Happy Gilmore 2. I've seen both. And we might have a special guest from The Ringer joining us. We'll see you then.